Let's understand queenside castling in chess. But before that, what is queenside? So as you can see, the king and the queen occupy the center squares. It is therefore we can divide the board into two sides. One is the queen side, which is this area where the queen is sitting, and the other is the king side, which is this area. So the right side of the board is the king side and the left side of the board is the queen side. If I just flip the board, then the left side would be now the king side and the right side would be the queen side. So since you now know queen side, let's understand what is castling. So castling is a only special move in chess which allows to move two pieces at a time, and those two pieces are the king and the rook. So the main objective of castling is to take your king to the side of the board where it is much safer, while you also activate one of your rooks. So when you castle, you move both the pieces, the king and the rook. So if I want to castle this side, so what I'll do is I'll move the king 2 steps towards the rook, while the rook will occupy the square immediately next to the king. So if I want to castle this side, then the king will move 2 steps towards the rook. So this is 1, this is 2, and the rook will occupy the square that the king has just passed. Let's go back. Let's say the king wants to do castling on this side of the board. Then the king will move 2 steps towards the rook, while the rook will take the square which the king has just passed. So the king will move here and the rook will come here. So both these moves that I showed you is known as castling in chess. But as you can see, the distance between both these castling moves is different. Here there were only 2 empty squares, while here there were 3 empty squares. And because the distance of these castling is different, it is therefore both these castlings have got different names. So if you castle on this side of the board, that means the king side of the board, then this is called as king side castling. Whereas if you castle on this side of the board, and you know that this side is called as the queen side of the board because the queen sits here, correct? So that is why if the king castles on this side of the board, then it would be called as queen side castling. And now I'm going to show you a few examples of queen side castling. Let's look at this example. Here in this situation, it is black's turn to move, and black is really looking forward to castle his king because he doesn't want to stay in the center where he is more prone to attack by the enemy pieces. But the question is, which side should he castle? Should he castle king side or should he castle queen side? Well, he cannot castle on the king side, and the reason is that white's light square bishop is controlling this key square over here. So hence black king cannot pass through this square because it comes under direct attack by the white's bishop. So therefore the king is not allowed to castle on the king side. But can he castle on the queen side? Well, definitely he can, because there is nobody to stop him to do so. So here black can castle on the queen side. Let's look at one more example. Here in the game it is black's turn to move, and black should ideally just focus on castling queen side so that he can get his king to a more safer square. But instead what he does is he gets greedy in the game and tries to take this free pawn on the b2 square. So black takes a pawn, but this move is a blunder. Can you tell me why? What can white play now? I'll give you 5 seconds to think. Well, the reason is white can now do queen side castling, checking the black king as well as attacking this undefended rook at the same time. Black cannot save his king and rook at the same time, and it doesn't matter what black plays now, whether he blocks the check with his bishop or with his knight, or he moves his king away. In either of the case, black will now lose his rook and white can easily win this game. White is now up in material. Let's look at one more example of queenside castling. Here it is white's turn to play, and what should white play? I'll give you 5 seconds to think. Well, before I tell you the move, just look at the black king, how badly he is stuck in the middle of the board. The black king does not have access to these 2 squares because it's controlled by our light squared bishop. He doesn't have access to this square because it's controlled by our pawn. He doesn't have access to this square because it's controlled by our knight. Also, he doesn't have access to these 2 squares because both these squares are being controlled by our pawns. It looks like black is stuck in a room. So what should white play? Well, white has 2 good moves. First is he can castle queenside and checkmating black's game. And the second one is white can just get his rook to the d1 square and checkmate this game. I hope you enjoyed learning this queenside castling. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and do join the membership program if you are really serious about chess. And now I would like to end the video with the question of the day. So here it is Black's move in the game, and Black is really looking forward to castle because he wants to get his king to safety. But on which side should he castle? Should he castle on the king side or should he castle on the queen side? Let me know your answers in the comments box, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep learning, keep practicing.